Dear gentlest viewer, did you miss me? Well, this author is not yet back from her voyages, and her co-author is struggling through a slight change of decor. Did you really think we would resist the allure of Bridgerton's newest season? Before this author's journey to the overseas, she has channeled her inner Madame Delacroix to speculate on this season's star new look. And alas, a Pear Smart Doll has joined our ranks. Better yet, another fashionista joins us in collaboration, the distinguished Lady Disdain. So, dear viewer, prepare yourself for scandalous revelations and sumptuous gossip as the wallflower blooms before our eyes. There's a lot of firsts in this video. First voiceover recorded in Japan. It's my dorm. But also first Pear Smart Doll, first Pear Smart Doll garment, and first somewhat period-accurate dress that I'm making in my life. The regency dress is not that difficult of a cut, which makes it a bit difficult to make wow. I did make an attempt with this a bit too green and too wrong scaled lace, but it gave me a sense of the pattern I prepared, so let's remake this in the final fabric. Two disclaimers. Yes, I know Hexgen just released his Lady Whistle Down video and he made two dresses. They're both looking so good and I just love his style, love Hexgen. I started this project a long time ago and for traveling reasons we couldn't release it earlier, so now we're not copying Hexgen. We didn't know each other would do this video. And two, even though we are releasing this after the premiere of part 1, I've made it before. Most of the leaks and trailers were out, so it's not recreating the dress from the show. It's just my artistic vision. Do I want to make the emerald dress now that I've seen it and I know that it's gorgeous? Absolutely I do. But I'm in Japan. Now, back to the video. It was so hard to source something glamorous and in the right scale fabric-wise, and since I made this design up, I decided to feature a flower motif. As you know, Penelope is the wallflower that is blooming this season. So I thought I would reuse a technique I used on Crush and make some foam flowers and use them as embellishment, and I cut them on the Cricut and sort of shaped them on the iron. Then I ended up not using them at all. Because I love manual labor that is easily missed in the final effect, I designed these damask-like patterns featuring an actual wallflower. They have 4 fingers for petals to be ironed on my fabric. And because I'm cheap and I didn't have more vinyl on hand, I had to cut them all together, tighten a sheet, and then hand place them on the fabric. Not to mention this was a weeding nightmare. I spent a few hours on this, but thankfully Sandy was working on her project at the same time, so we just chatted online while I picked these vinyl pieces up. I was smart enough to create a stencil for better alignment, and with it, I think the print turned out quite nicely. I had to use some washi tape to keep everything in place so that I could take it to my big ironing press. Beat us! It took a lot of time and steps, but in the end was definitely worth the result. My plan was to layer organza on top of the blue satin, which, by the way, I bought so many new fabrics for this project just to pull out this blue I originally bought from Macy almost 2 years ago. And this is some curtain that Alex got at some point in a secondhand store. Bruh. Anyway, I thought I'd be able to add a pleated design to the top of the dress with the organza, but the organza is literally the devil, and making tiny pleats is not yet something I mastered, so they all looked like absolute crap. And I hated every single attempt, and it was getting to me, especially because the first dress that I didn't like the color of went together so much smoother, because the fabric was more pleasant to work with. I ended up cutting out the organza plainly and pleating the excess of the darts for a minimal look. With that, I constructed the bodice and added big puffy organza sleeves made from the top layer so they stand out and have a bit of a different color, but goddamn, I called it because I think Eloise sports a dress with a combo like that in the first part. I gave myself a pat on the back when I saw that. Anyway, I think they might be a bit too puffy to be realistically Regency, but I don't care because I'm going for a dramatic princess look. So that's what she deserves, okay? I don't know if I should be gathering this much, but maybe it will look okay. I'm supposed to not be talking, because Alex doesn't like it. Just delusional and talking to myself all the time. I don't want to make it ugly, you know? I don't want to make it less attractive just because she's thick. I don't like it at all. So I'm changing my mind again. Yeah, there's always a point where you just have to try a bunch of stuff to see if they look good, even though it can be a little bit annoying. This project was tough because I never made a period adjacent thing before and got in my head about there being rules and all, and because I have no prior experience, I wasn't feeling too confident. Why is it not working? It's 2 months later, and I am so far removed from these feelings that I don't even remember it being so bad. It seems like I pressed on though, and this is actually the best advice I can give anyone who thinks they are not making progress. It's just do it and try it, and at some point it will work out. It is time to connect them together. Wish me luck. This is experimental, so this might not work. Yes, I'm using it. Facebook Reels as my reference for this. This technique just appeared on my feed at the right time, and I thought it would be perfect for this dress as a zipper might be a bit out of place for the period. Basically, you use pins to space out the loops for a button closure, and it magically worked. I think if I do it with this gold, it will look better and also should work. If it doesn't, it is my own fault and I do not get the right to be upset because I clearly should be using elastic. I will not be doing any tests and just, you know, do the YOLO route. Let's check together if that worked. If that worked, it would be great. Oh my god, it worked. Pretty good, right? I think I want to quit the train because I don't like it anymore. I'm scared that it will look bad. That's why I want to get rid of it before I even try. That's the truth.
One mental breakdown later.
There's very little I like about this dress, but I have to fix it. So I'm going to start with these. They need to go opposite direction. I still have no idea why this came out so small. And then I will consider if it's still fixable. Hopefully it is. But we will have to address that the length is just not quite long enough. Maybe a ruffle will fix that. I don't know. But I'll see. And I'll let you know. As you can see, no giving up was done. I extended the bottom by adding a ruffle, which I weighted down with a chain as well. And I replaced the waistband.
Fixed it, almost.
It's time to embellish the shit out of it. With this, and this, and this, and there was more. I did the embellishing in stages, starting with the biggest pieces and adding smaller bits to fill the space. And while it was another one of those manual things that take a lot of time, I think it elevated the gown a lot. Shoes are a territory I am more familiar with, although the style is not necessarily my go-to. I prepared a lined upper made with this gorgeous, sparkling gold fabric with a bit of interfacing. It's a very basic shape and it's basically just a sock without the top part, and then it gets a sole, which this time I opted out for a rimless design, as usual, courtesy of Mr. Enchanterium.
She made a dress, she made the shoes, and then she left. Me, with all the stuff to do. I'm kidding, have fun. First look at a Pear Smart Doll sculpt tells me she's hella cute. I hope in the future... This doll is called Future. I hope in the future they will get more face sculpts, especially the anime version. Our head is from a Chaos outlet, so she needs to go under the knife to get rid of the excess vinyl and to open her eyes. I've noticed that she has a slightly darker color of the skin than the body that we're using, and with all the blushing and MSC I usually do, that's not good. I prefer to have a tiny bit lighter base so I can contour and blush as much as I want. First step of the face is always 2 or 3 layers of Mr. Super Clear Spray that creates a paper-like texture. On the first layer, I usually do the sketch with light and neutral colors like brown, so it's easy to remove when I make a mistake or change my mind. I don't have visual imagination, so I change my mind very often because I can only judge my work after making it. The pencils I'm using are Arteza and Derwent watercolor pencils, and for some soft shadows and blushing, I use Mungyo soft pastels. When I feel like I want to save my progress, or when the surface doesn't want to take more pigment in, I spray with MSC again. This sculpt is obviously not a realistic one, and it has very different proportions than Nicola Coughlan, the actor who plays Penelope, so I'm not even trying to make her look alike. You could ask, why not use a different head that will look more like the actor? Well, one of the reasons we make Pen in the first place is to use the new type of smart doll. And because one of us doesn't see different dolls beyond the smart doll brand, we just have to use it. It's starting to change. We recently even bought some Dolphy Dream and Asian Girls to try different brands of vinyl Japanese dolls. You'll probably see them in our next projects. One of them would be a perfect Kate Sharma. She has the most gorgeous brown skin tone. After a few layers of building the eyeshadow, I can paint the eyelashes. I'm starting with the brown paint to see if I like them, and then going over the sketch again with something stronger. So it's like I'm painting natural lashes and then adding a mascara. The last detail on the face and a few curly baby hair on the side of the head. And she's ready. So you may have noticed the change of setup. It's in our workshop. I usually paint dolls in my room in the flat, but our flat is renovated right now, so I had to make this thing here, and it's not the most comfortable, but it's okay. But every time I start something new, I miss some stuff. I just have it in my flat. I did the face without using any rubber because I don't know where it is. Now I want to do hair, and I took the foil, the hair, the glue, but I miss my jar with the stick. I can't start without it because the doll has to be on something. When I'm crafting, I miss pliers. When I'm doing stuff, I'm missing stuff. So it's hard, guys. Like, I have to go home every now and then and just avoid all the dust and say sorry to the renovation crew and stuff like that. So it's a different project. It's definitely different. Hair is always a journey for me. You know that. I admit that I don't like doing it, it stresses me, I don't know how to start, I'm not interested in hairstyling, and I just can't force myself to start being interested. But somehow I do it every time, just for you guys. You will be on the video. Hi everybody! This time, for example, I took everything I need. Hairspray, resin, some fabrics, but no SD card. I really wanted to try making something new for Penelope because she always had gorgeous, intricate hairstyles in the previous seasons, and I thought if the dress is a combination of her old style with all the yellow, with the new style with all the blue and elegant pieces, I can maybe do the same with the hair. So less complex than this, but more detailed than this. So I have this goes up. But I think these are too messy. I think I would prefer them to be more unified. So what about straightening them to curl them again? So I failed with curling the hair in a nice and uniform way. And guess which wig has perfect, thick, relaxed curls? The original one. She just needs a bit of modification. I didn't want to use it at first because Barb told me it's an expensive wig, that it's hard to get, and I didn't want to ruin something that already looks nice. But here we are. So I added a few small curls and lifted the front part up. But I feel like it's not enough, you know? So I played with the idea of a big curl on top of the head to be dramatic and, you know, curly. But it didn't want to lay as I wanted, even with a good portion of hairstyling products. And then a stroke of genius hit me. What about a simple but dramatic wave flip to the other side? I quickly messaged Barb if she agrees. I was lucky she wasn't sleeping. We have 7 hours of time zone difference now. We agreed that it's good style for this more sexy version of Penelope that we see in the 3rd season. I'm adding a few more curls to fit more in the period style, even if they don't really make sense here, but I like them. And then I pulled some hair from the front and tied it in the back, in a very typical Enchanterium fashion, but instead of leaving it on top, I covered it with the top layers of hair. I played a bit more with the styling products and the hair is ready. And I really like it. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to curl the hair like that. This one is perfect. Let's make the windows to her soul. Spoiler, I tried 2 times. In the first pair, I wanted to use the 3D effect of sculpting the irises. It looked alright to the point when I added the 3D pupil and poured the resin. Some air got trapped under the pupil and it created a few very ugly bubbles. But I also think this is not our style. I'm not sure if this kind of eye suits the stylite aesthetic of smart dolls. So the second try. I couldn't find any fitting flat bases, so I had to use the spherical ones again. This time I painted them in a more simple and stylized way. I would say semi-anime style. I made sure that the resin is not super cold and poured it very carefully 2 times. There's one small artifact inside one of the eyes, but it doesn't look bad. It's like an additional catchlight, but only appearing at a certain angle. Time for some accessories. I'm using this chain with pearls for a simple necklace and adding a star as a pendant, because she's the star of this season. And I added smaller stars as her earrings. Barb made the shoes before she left for Japan, but I think I can make them look a little bit better with paint and some sparkly decoration. And here they are, very simple fixes, but I think they look more elegant. Every respectable lady has to have gloves. We had a few tries with sewn gloves, but they didn't look elegant in this scale. My first idea was to paint a glove imitation. I even tried to stamp a fabric texture on it, but it looked alright only in a few places. So I decided to sacrifice one pair of hands and glue the fabric directly to the skin. It was a tricky process, so I didn't record it, but it's not rocket science. It's just fabric and glue and a bit of paint to make the shadows between the fingers. Then I made a simple shawl and sprayed it with glitter. I also couldn't skip a fan, and I have to admit I stole this idea from Hextian. His fans turned out so gorgeous that I had to make one for our Penelope. Thank you, Hextian, for inspiration. It's simple and elegant, and it suits the vinyl applications on her dress. And of course, I had to include a copy of Lady Whistledown Society papers and a dance card. And with these little details, she's ready.
And this is how she turned out. Not bad for a first period costume, eh? I am so happy we finally managed to collab with Sandy and John. They're my best of friends in the Smart Doll community, and Sandy's Bridgerton Batgirl is such a complex outfit. You really gotta see how she did it. I'll link their video below. We now have a Pear doll in our collections, and while I'm still in Japan, you can bet that other dolls will join our ranks too.
Tell us in the comments who's your favorite character from the Bridgerton series. Mine is obviously Penelope, Kate, and I won't be original, Eloise. For this photoshoot I went to a gorgeous place, the Cadencia Studio, and the owner offered me a photoshoot with a snake. So, trigger warning, some of the next photos contain a snake. If you don't like snakes, just skip the last few pictures.
I am excited to come back to the channel sometime in July for what is going to be our 100th video on the channel. So now's your time to put in the request in the comments. What should we do to celebrate? What dolls do you want to see? I think we should also celebrate reaching 300,000 here on YouTube while we're at it. Thank you so much. If you're still here, thank you so much for 300,000. And for more frequent updates from my journey in Japan, you can catch me on Patreon. See ya! Speaking of Patreons, this video was made thanks to them. The biggest credit goes to our top Lost tier supporters: Andamar Quack, Adia Bear, Wolfie and a Wolfie, Mary Helen Burns, Call Me Ash, Barb from the Future, and Red X. We also thank our cousin tier Patreons: Reese's Cup, Graham Central, Tate van der Veen, Dakota Chenoweth, Monica Cormochi, Cosma Clover, Alice Sayaskov, Sleepy Sheep, Stephanie Deer, Dakota Rose, Rachel Cuddle, Sadie the Human, Art Boxy, Vic Durig, Willa Vanilla, Sella, Kieran Kirst, Hope Zed, North Soul, Finley, Laurent, Celine Bobian, Becca, Sassy Cow, Arcturus, Sofa Cushion, Faye, Gavin, Angel Silver Rose, Griffin Rose, Malachite, Maria965, Alea Knight, Whimsy, Whitetails, Hannah, Link Envy, Elia Lowell, Kit the Caroline, Jessica Shrestha, Kito Kato, Burt BTW, Nala Korsholt, Ashley Priest, Krista Hopper, Doll Dragon, Galina Harsion, Sirius Eden, Leon Jostings, Mavi, DM Bakayaro Onna Smith, Gianette, Josephine Falk, Kaylee M, Melissa Navoa, Renth, Fan of TA, Ashley, Hannah Lemon, Zari, Amelia Blackwood, Andrea Bridger, Ghostly Gardens, BLT, The Barbie Witch, Bowen, Inca, Stephanie, Tiffany Jeffords, Karaho, Landy Monk, Jane Beck, Karabu, Dragon Art Customs, Ninja Star Dizino, Dream Up, and last but not least, Catherine Nodden. Thanks, guys.